Ladies and gentlemen, in the vast tapestry of voices that discuss the mysteries of our universe, there are those that stand out, not just for their unique perspectives, but for the depth and breadth of their experiences. One such voice is that of Elena Danaan. Just a few weeks ago, we had the privilege of hosting Elena on our program. Together, we journeyed through the incredible life of Stephen Chua, a conversation that resonated with many of you. If you missed that enlightening episode, I encourage you to visit our website, where you can listen or watch and immerse yourself in that captivating discussion. Today, however, we turn the spotlight in a different direction. While our previous conversation delved into the life of another, this time, Elena returns to share her own story, a narrative that promises to be as riveting as it is profound. Born in France, Elena's life has been anything but ordinary. From her early years, she has claimed encounters with beings beyond our understanding, experiences that have shaped her worldview and led her on a quest for knowledge and understanding. As an extraterrestrial contactee, Elena's tales of interstellar interactions challenge our perceptions of reality. But Elena is not just a storyteller. Her credentials as an archaeologist, druid, and shaman lend a depth to her narratives, grounding them in a rich tapestry of history, spirituality, and tradition. Beyond her personal experiences, Elena has also made significant contributions to the literary world. As the best-selling author of The Cedars, The Return of the Gods, she has provided readers with a window into realms beyond our everyday understanding. As we sit down with Elena today, we're not just embarking on an interview. We're setting forth on a journey that traverses the boundaries of our known world, delving into the mysteries of the cosmos and the intricacies of the human spirit. Whether you're a longtime follower of Elena's work or are joining us for the first time, prepare to be transported, enlightened, and inspired.
Welcome to VERITAS. If this is your first time listening, welcome home. To access tonight's full interview and all of our exclusive material, simply join the Veritas Plus family by clicking on the subscribe button at veritasradio.com. And while you're there, don't forget to check out the Veritas store for a range of great products, including Focused Life Force Energy. Experience the power of FLFE with a 15-day free trial today. No credit card required. We're excited to announce the launch of our brand new Veritas Plus Insider, your source for exclusive news and insights you won't find anywhere else. If you're looking to get in touch with Mel, have a guest suggestion, or would like to provide feedback, simply click on the contact button on our website. So sit back, relax, and enjoy tonight's show. And now, here's your host, Mel Hastelrick.
And the title of the book is The Cedars, The Return of the Gods. The founder of the website, elenadanaan.org. And hailing from Ireland, we extend a warm welcome to Elena Danaan. Hello, Elena, and it's a pleasure to have you back on Veritas. How are you?
Oh, I'm excellent. Thank you very much for welcoming me again.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And I don't have to tell you that we have received a lot of messages from people who are very, very pleased and happy to not only listen to the interview, to watch the interview because it was on video and we're doing it again, and the fact that you accepted to come back in just a few weeks. So I'm delighted to have you back.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's great.
And today I want to
salute everyone.
Yes. And last time we focused on Stephen Chua's life and his legacy. But I said we need to bring you back because you have such an incredible story that goes back not only during birth, but before your birth. So in chronological order. I don't have to have so many pleasantries because people know you already. But why don't we go back in time so you can start sharing your story?
Thank you. Well, my story starts many million years ago when the true story, from the beginning, as you ask, when my soul fractaled first from source, as everyone does, my planetary matrix in which my soul incarnated is in another galaxy, which is NGC 7331, visible through the Pegasus constellation. I evolved there as a soul. And going through all the development, the reigns of life there. It's very similar to Earth. You have mineral, vegetal, animal, and all these things that we all go through in order to grow our consciousness, develop our consciousness from a spark, a fractal spark of source, to a fully evolved consciousness. And when we reached out to the stage of human, as I did, it was human on my world, but it can be other species, on other worlds. I'm human soul. I went through a cycle of incarnations there until the day I was able to incarnate somewhere else in other planetary matrices. So I followed many incarnations here and there, and I ended up on Earth one day, but I followed through a desire, a soul mission, which is following the development of human species in a certain strand. My people originally is part of a group called the Cedars. It's a group of 24 scientists from 24 different cultures who are part of the Intergalactic Confederation. This group assists Source, the work of Source, to help life spread throughout the universe. When planets, worlds, disasters, this group of scientists will come and reseed with life this world in order to just to develop also diversity. And that's why one day my group arrived on Earth. And this planet was occupied by a reptilian species. So we got the things. I wasn't there, but my group, I'm not that old. This group just decided to rebalance the life diversity of planet Earth and give Earth a chance to develop all the biodiversity freely. And, well, there was genetic experiment with a creature on Earth that was added 11 different genomes from other galaxies in order to see what would be the product, the treasure coming at the end of this. And this took really million years to slowly develop. Sometimes my group will go out and come back. I was, as a soul, personally incarnated into civilizations who were linked from near or far to the development of humans on that planet. And I was curious. I want to help protect them and study them. It was my desire. And I was once called to be part of a group who came to Earth 400,000 years ago. I incarnated among them to help save this human race that was in danger. And that's a whole story. But here I am going through further incarnations on Earth, trying to assist humanity and help them getting out this slavery that was imposed by regressive extraterrestrials. From life to life, I incarnated in other places. For instance, before coming here, before this incarnation, I was incarnated into the Pleiades. If I'm speaking about all of this, it's not only because you ask me, but I'm happy to speak about these things, because humans on Earth need to realize who they are, that we not all come from the Earth planetary matrix, but many of us, of you who are listening to this, feel a call for a home in the stars, belong to another world, another home, another mother. And that's right. That's why telling my story, I hope it may inspire you to regain your memory. Before coming here, I was incarnated in the Pleiades, in the Ashara star system, 300 50 years in the future. Time is linear only when it is linked with gravity. Out of gravity, out of a star system, time ceases to be linear, and time has no line, I would say. There's no other word. So, we can incarnate in the future, in the past. It doesn't matter. The laws of the universe abide by gravity. Gravity is a factor that will determine time. I came back in time, 350 years here, back in time, to incarnate as many of us for a special moment when this planet would know its greatest moment in history, the liberation from 400,000 years of slavery. I went back here. Now I am to help, to assist, and to remind humans of Earth of who they are and help them. Incarnating in this third density plane of existence on this planet and in lower plane of existence, we lose memory. Memory is held back. We never really lose it. It's somewhere in our consciousness, but we are disconnected at the moment we incarnate into matter, into a new avatar body. And this memory, we need to first be aware that it's there somewhere, and then find it, rediscover who we are and where we come from and what is our mission. Why are we here? And that has been all my life until recently, until I reconnect with my people and all my memory came back. Starting this incarnation here, of course, I didn't remember who I was and what is my planetary matrix, but I knew that there was a link with the Pleiades, and I had this call for the stars and always thinking that I didn't belong here. And I know that what I'm saying resonates with many of you who are listening to this. Before coming, I had taken upon this mission to be a emissary, to bring messages from my people to you. And there was going to be an event, a singularity in this existence that would determine the activation of this mission. And the singularity happened when I was 9 years old. When I was 9 years old, I was taken by gray aliens. Physically, of course, I was abducted like many, many millions of children are abducted every year, used to, on this planet. I was taken on board this gray ship, mistreated, and in the process, I was rescued by a crew from another extraterrestrial group who was the Galactic Federation of Worlds. They have programs that involve rescuing people from regressive rays and regressive reptilians. So they saved me, they rescued me. And these programs exist, of course. They rescued me and they took care of me. And since that moment, they kept contact with me, manifesting a few, maybe 2-3 times a year, physically, beaming in my room physically, or taking me on board ships and showing me amazing things, trying to trigger my memory. It had to come from me. That's remembering is activating. If you're told something, it doesn't work. You need to remember yourself. They showed me with time how to pilot a ship, how a ship worked. I know a lot about ET technology, and that's why I'm attacked a lot and monitored a lot by many corporations who want to know about these technologies. And they showed me maps of the stars, where the civilizations are. They showed me a lot of things, but never I could speak about these things publicly because This happened in the 1970s and 80s and 90s and start of 2000. And if I had spoken at that time, I would have been locked up in a mental house. The world wasn't ready to hear these things. And the many people like me who spoke were either killed or either disappeared in mental hospitals, So it was a protection that never spoke about that. Until one day in 2018, I was taken again on board a ship, and I was told that my memory will be reactivated because the world was ready and things amazing were going to happen in this world, on this planet. And my memory was given back to me about my abduction and rescue. I had memory of my abduction, but the part where the Greys start to mistreat me was blocked because it was very traumatic. So from this moment onward, I couldn't remember, but the memory was given back to me. By the way, when I was abducted, there were physical eyewitnesses. My grandmother was there. She saw the UFO as well, and it was in the newspapers on the following morning. Of course, people took photos. That was to tell you when I was 9. And in 2018, when I was taken again, I'm in Ireland, so it happened in Ireland. And that very night of November 2018 was documented as the Shannon incident. I was on board one of these ships. My memory came back, and with the coming back of my memory, more connection with my family groups upstairs physically. And from that point onwards, I started to be their emissary as I had planned, and it was decided. And I still keep to this day trying to show humanity who they are and trying to help them by bringing all these messages. And, this is who I am. And I want to say, to add, before giving back the mic to you, that I do not do channeling. The communications I have are either via an implant, a technological device that I have in my body, or either physically by teleportation. I never do astral meetings, or it's all physical and real. I wanted to really precise that. No download, no channelings. I don't do that. It's not me. So here I am.
Thank you for the clarification about that. That's even more impressive. And I'm learning so much from you. I've been doing this since 2008, and I've never heard of the Shannon incident. I just found out that it was an incredible sighting in Ireland. Was it in November 9th, 2006 at Shannon Airport in County Clare, Ireland?
2018.
18, so that was another one then.
Oh, there are many. I mean, there's a Federation base in the Northern Atlantic, so they fly over the west of Ireland a lot.
So 2018, is this when you publicly came out, sort of, you came out of the closet, so to say, because people were not ready? And I've said this many times. When I started this, the mockery, anybody that went to the mainstream media to talk about this, they would bring you in very seriously, but then when you left the studio, they would completely edit the whole program to just ridicule the person. And things are changing now. My question to you and to many of my guests is, what changed? Why are they finally taking this topic seriously? Is it because they're trying to create the so-called fake invasion, alien invasion, or is this something else?
There is something bigger, of a greater perspective, the great awakening of humanity, of Terra, of Earth. Finally, people are opening their mind about who they are. It is a spiritual awakening. And I'm not talking about all the New Age things. I'm not into New Age, and I'm fighting many, many things that are related to New Age. I'm very pragmatic, even if all I say can sound weird to many people. That's how it is.
That's why we're getting along, because we're both pragmatic. When I hear New Age, sometimes it's we're not going to be able to meditate our problems away.
I'm a scientist. I'm an engineer in archaeology. I've been working as a field archaeologist for 20 years, 9 years in Egypt. I've learned how I've been trained in the scientific mind, facts, the evidence, and that's it. What happened on Earth? The Great Awakening of humanity, of course, but also disclosure starting to come out a little by little. You mentioned the fake alien invasion, but that's the plan that's been going on since the 1940s. That's been something that was planned as a last resort hoax to try to bind humanity together in fear to accept a new world thingy.
Yeah, right.
Your channel to be, in trouble. But the thing is, in 2018, what my friends told me, it was the same crew who rescued me. It was always the same people. What they told me, they were so excited. They were saying to me, "We are coming back. We are coming back because extraordinary things are going to happen on this planet, and we are here to take part of it." And they were very excited. They would say that they were here to help raining. Now, they said something important that I didn't know at the time would have its importance. They say they were working at draining the mud in a pond, and that to take the mud at the surface of the pond, that everyone could see it and identify it and be able to scoop it and have a clear water. That was very picturesque. But then what about the draining of the swamp, all these operations, and that's exactly what has been happening, because there is a prime directive, there is a real one that exists, that serves the laws of evolution. Consider parents and their children. If you do the homeworks for your children, they will never learn. They will never grow up. They will stay children and ignorant in their head. You need to allow the child to work, to do their homeworks, to fall, to stumble, to burn themselves, to make mistakes, to hurt themselves, to cry, to be able to learn and grow and become an adult. And that's what the people from the Star Nations are doing, holding the space. They never let us down, but just guiding us through our liberation. They are never coming. Then it was never about saving us. There are a lot of psychological operations, and some people listening to this are well aware of what it is. In order to blurry the information, it's the information war. When you cannot, very well suppress an information, you are going to discredit it by bringing false narratives, like tsunami of false narratives that will just, put into oblivion the truth, drown the truth. And all these false narratives are about alien salvation and solar flash. It's always about fear. They use fear. They use fear to control you. It's all about something's going to happen, whatever they say, that will oblige humans to comply to a new world order and follow what they are told, because solar flash, fake alien invasion, some little molecules, very contagious, or things like this, The plan is to maintain humanity, plan of the dark, into compliance and slavery, So that's another story. We're digressing. Sorry. Don't get me started.
No, I want to get you started and then some. But I finished reading the book, The Cedars, this morning. And there's a lot of information. I'm going to have to read it multiple times because there's so much there. But I'm going to just highlight some of the things For example, there's one character, Thor Han, and some people have told me, or they asked me, is there any relationship between this Thor Han and Valiant Thor? You probably have heard that name, the stranger at the Pentagon.
Yeah. So I'm happy to help clarifying this. The confusion comes sometimes. Thor is a title. It's a title of commander. Thorhan is my friend. He's actually from my soul group. He's also from the same planetary matrix. We follow each other from life to life. He is actually incarnated in the body of a Pleiadian Erahel. We were on the same planet before coming here. And he is a Pleiadian, so working in the Galactic Federation of Worlds. He's a high commander now. He's been a fleet commander and ship captain before that for a long time. That's who he is. Val Thor is a totally different person. Sometimes he was called Valiant Thor, but that's the Earth interpretation of it. The name is Val. Val is a name that is often used. I find a friend's name Val Neck as well. Val Thor is is a Tal. He was born on planet Venus in a colony, Tal colony, and this colony came from the Man K62 star system in the Lyra constellation. So he is a diplomat. He's been a fleet commander for a long time. That's when he came to Earth and he interacted with the Pentagon and President Dwight Eisenhower. Val Thor helped setting up cooperation programs between the US Navy and the Galactic Federation of Worlds, of which he is a member. But so two different persons.
A week after I started this show, I made contact with the wife of Dr. Frank Stranges for an interview, and she just told me, if you had called 2 weeks ago, he would have granted it to you, but he just died 3 days before I called, and he was the one who wrote the book Stranger at the Pentagon. So Venus, there are some photographs out there that show allegedly Val Thor, his brother, and his sister. Are those photographs real? Mm-hmm.
These photographs are real. I've actually met the three of them. They are real. Yes. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you've given me
his sister. It's his wife.
Oh, that's his wife. Okay. Can you tell me more about these beings who are here? They came apparently during the 1950s. Correct me if I'm wrong.
From 1957 to 1962. Yes. They were there around, here? Not only in America. They went on to other countries as well. Val Thor is doing some missions sometimes on Earth, but secretly with the White Hats, with the Earth Alliance. He's working with the space programs that not that secret anymore. The defense space programs such as Solar Warden and Fleet has developed around it.
So Val
Thor, times to times.
Val Thor was the one who stayed at the Pentagon for quite some time. So he's no longer at the Pentagon?
Yes. No, he's coming. No. He left the Pentagon in 1962, and he's coming back and forth now, but based on Venus.
What is the reason for him having been at the Pentagon? What did he accomplish by being here? And allegedly his age is in the hundreds of years. How old is he now? And how are they not aging?
Well, so first question, he was here to help the Galactic Federation of Worlds Cooperation Program to really take off and being strengthened and better organized and bring really assistance in that, helping also Dwight Eisenhower to get the agreements rescinded that were made without the the agreement of the Eisenhower that were made by the Majestic 12, the MJ-12, behind the back of the presidents with the Nebu Grays, the Orion Grays. So Walther was there to help Eisenhower get these agreements rescinded. And also Walther was there as a spy of the Federation to spy and try to understand who was involved in these agreements with the Greys and how did this work? What were the implications with the companies, industries? Walther was there a little bit to really navigate and see what the hell is going on, and make his report to the Federation because he had a diplomatic status. So, and why he's not aging? Well, he looks a little bit older now. He looks in his, I would say, late 40s, which is not a lot. The Taal, the race he's part of, live several hundreds of years. They have different genetics, but that's normal for human race, human species, to live several hundreds of years. Why on earth people do not live up to even 100? It's because the genetics of the people on Earth has been altered. 350,000 years ago has been altered before we were living longer here.
I'm so glad you're saying this because a few years ago or months ago, I had an interview and we discussed that. And I named during the times of the Bible where they explained the number of years people used to live. And we're talking about hundreds of years. And now, allegedly, we should be programmed to live about 150 years. But it's the environment. It's the food, the water, the fear that it's not only what we consume through our mouths, but what we consume through our eyes, through our ears. And that's what's keeping us down in a lower vibration. And this is why longevity goes to, oh my God, you're going to live 80 years. That's great. When in fact, we should be living double that time.
Yes. And you are right to mention these things because this is not only a question of altered genetics, it's also the poison put in food that keep our DNA locked, and many other things. The radiations, a lot of things.
And I'm looking here in some passages. Seth lived 912 years. Enos, 905. Canaan, 910. Unless they were using a different type of time scheduling, because as you know, I'm told that in the past we used to use 13 months of 28 days each month, and then one day out of the year did not count. Do you lend credence to that?
Well, that is a fact, but that doesn't explain it that way. Because why suddenly the measurement of time would change? So these people who were living, that's the Adamic bloodline, and other beings were activated at that time. They were living several hundreds of years, which is normal for a human being. But suddenly we count differently. Suddenly, oh no, the scale of time is different. So the humans live only 50 years, but those before lived hundreds of years. So is it that we changed the way we measure time? That it's a misconception? No, nothing's changed. People in these areas of the world kept on the same measurement of time. And as you were talking about these people who lived hundreds of years, beside them, you would talk about people living only 50 years old. And the time, it's not about measurement of time. It's about humans, a special class of humans living hundreds of years. It's not linked to a change of measurement of time.
Someone asked me a very interesting question the other day because, we talk about BC and AD, right, or BCE, before Common Era. And the person said, how did people used to count years before? Was it in a backwards? In other words, it was the year 4, then 3, 2, and 1? Obviously not, right? But they used lunar cycles, solar observations, astronomical alignment, water cycles, hourglasses, notable events, lunisolar calendars. How did they measure time before BCE?
Time has always been measured with the celestial bodies that he could see, the cycle of day and night that would give fractals of the moment between sunrise and sunset. And you would have cycles of the moon and cycles of the sun. That would give the framework for partitioning the time, So that never, ever changed. Now, how would they say...
2023, for example. Today, we are on August 2023. What did they say in the year 10 before Christ, for example? What would they say? What is this year?
Sometimes there would be a big catastrophic event that would induce people to say the year 10 after the event or the year 1 before the event. When there wasn't any event to relate to, they would count the years with the years of reign of their kings or queens, their monarch. For instance, year 30 of the reign of that king, that happened. Year 5 of the reign of that king that came before him, that happened.
Thank you for that, because that brought another question in mind. And I don't mean to be opening doors, but since I can trust that you can go anywhere without any censorship, I'll ask you. Many people keep talking about Tartaria and the old world, but especially the coins. They sent me pictures of coins that if you look at the number, it doesn't look like a 1. It looks like an I or a J for Yesu or Yeshua or whatever name they ascribe him to. Have they, elites, the cultural editors, have they added 1,000 years to our history?
Well, I need to be honest, I've never been told about Tartaria with my contacts. This is not something that I remember as it is told. The only name Tartaria that I know, it's in the Greek mythology. It was the realm of the afterlife. That's not related to what I'm hearing, all the narratives about Tartaria. So I am afraid I do not have corroboration personally for this.
Even for the coin, because some people say maybe there was a 1,000-year reign of peace and harmony in this world. Is that not true?
Oh, the 1,000 year of, so that was an agenda in the past of the regressive ETs that would make people believe that after this, after a liberation, we would have only 1,000 years of peace, and then there would be a great war. And that has been part of narratives of, it was a timeline that they were trying to set, but that hasn't worked. The liberation is happening, and it's done. They're gone.
I'm going to ask you about what you just said, but there's another name that I want to discuss. Am I saying this right? Anax?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us about Anax?
Anax is an old friend of mine. He's a geneticist, and in the same time, he's a counselor at the Council of Al-Nilam. It's a council of elders of originally 9 different cultures. Now they are back to 7. He's been, because of a past life link, he's been helping me in this life by giving me some giving to this body that I borrow, some genetic enhancement that would allow me to perform my mission. So Anax is an Agaroth. Agaroth is a species on its own. They are tall. They have brown skin, a large skull, big indigo eyes, They're very beautiful, the Egaroth. It's a very ancient culture, and it's a friend of mine, and we work together.
When you say you're friends and you work together, physically?
Yes.
So how,
Yes, I've met him. Oh, yeah, I meet him sometimes. Not for a long time now because he's very busy in the Orion zone because there's a lot of things happening there, and the Council of Al-Nilam is located there. So, but sometimes I have contacts, just communication, but it's just say hi, check on me. But I've had physical contact with him, and we even did a space travel together. That was really nice.
So is he may I say, is he? Anax
He's
is a he?
So his species is androgynous. I mean, it's you can choose at puberty what polarity you want to have or not. So either you remain non-sexual, so you become part of a caste of the society that will be rather the spiritual elders or the scientists, so people who dedicate their achievement for the community. Either you choose to be male or female, and then serve the community with reproduction, and you will create children, offsprings that will be raised by the community. Anax chose male. He has a female consort, who I met once. She's very discreet. She doesn't want too much speak about her, but she's really nice. So that's Anax is male.
When we talk about these 24 races, is the concept of male and female a universal concept, or is it just here? And also, do they reproduce or procreate in the same way, or is it different in every single civilization?
So the Egaroth, Anax race, is not part of the Cedars. The Egaroth are indigenous to this galaxy, Nataru. The concept of male and female is very definite in the human species. But in other species, it can be different, many other genders. The concept of male and female is the most widespread. I mean, binary sexuated species is the most common because it's at the template of source, which is dual. So that's another conversation we can have. There are species I have been told about who have up to 6 different genders, and every gender has a part to play in the sexual reproduction. It's very interesting. It's fascinating. The Cedars, the group of 24 cultures, scientists. Well, I can't give more precision, because people can confuse that. 24 Cedars. It's 24 groupuscules, like 2-3 people, of different cultures. And this organization is vowed to scientific purpose to spread life. So that's who they are. Among them, there are species who are of more genders than 2, most of them are binary.
Give me an example of another gender that is not male and female. And part of my ignorance, this is just new to me, obviously. I want to learn. I presume that there might be some hermaphrodites that procreate that way. Maybe others clone themselves. I just want to know how they procreate. How do they expand their races?
Well, most human races make love, have physical intercourse because it's agreeable, and also it allows the connection of the soul to soul, and the emergence of the two essences in one. It's a process that it's absolutely magnificent to experience, and that's anyway how things should be experienced. So having the choice, they will always choose to have physical intercourse because it's really nice. But otherwise, they can choose as well to do that in vitro, grow their genetic material in tubes and develop babies like this. But it's not the first choice usually with humans. There are other species who have more than two genders, who make love physically as well, because they need to, when some of the genders, for instance, who are necessary in the sexual act, do this really physically, their bodies release certain chemicals that are necessary for fecundation, fertilization. So they always choose first physically. Well, there are species such as the greys. So now we have another completely different thing. The greys, some are human-based, reptiloid-based, so they're oviparous and they produce eggs, or some are insectoids. The insectoid-based and some of the reptiloids are hive mind consciousness. The hive mind consciousness, it's like the bees or the ants. You will have a central consciousness that will determine the social role of everyone. So they are all hermaphrodites, the greys, hive greys. And when comes the time to reproduce, it's linked with the queen. The queen will receive the chemicals from the males of the hive, or they're not male, but the individuals of the hive, and she produces clones and clones and clones and clones and clones. Clones also can be produced by splitting genetic with the body. Now, when we come to talk with the greys, they are not individual consciousness, so it's very easy for them to do that. They can also, that's what I want to say. They can really split themselves and. That's what I want to say. Came to my mind and it went out. Most of the greys now have their consciousness going to, I would say, doll body to clone. It's like synthetics. Some species do not have any more organic lives, and they are going to go from synthetic body to synthetic body. When a synthetic body would be terminated, they would jump to another one, and they don't care. That's why when, there are several UFO crash retrievals that have been found with these sort of small gray ETs in it, and they're synthetics. They do not have digestive systems, breathing systems. It's weird. How do they live? But they're synthetics. They do not need vital functions. So it's very easy for space travels, for instance.
Are they biocomputers? These can we call them silicon-based life forms?
Yes. So that's something different again. The silicon comes into the fabrication, the making of these bodies. But now you mentioned silicon life forms. It's organic. Okay, you have, the carbon life form is the most widespread in this galaxy, for instance. But you will have silicon-based life forms. You will have sulfuric acid-based life forms and other more rare elements. But you have first carbon, then silicon, then acid. And that occurs, yes.
What about copper-based life forms? As you know, the crustaceans, they have this blue blood, and some people say, hey, maybe the royal bloodlines come from them.
So copper-based are still carbon-based life form, but they have copper in their organism that is very prominent. So it will turn their skin blue and sometimes the blood as well. But the organic base will always be carbon for these ones.
I'm going to just shotgun some questions because you're opening doors and I don't want to forget. But you mentioned how some of these grays that are synthetic, they don't need to procreate. They just take their data in their mind and they just put it into another one. Some people say that when humans are cloned, and that is happening right now, folks, this is not science fiction. When they clone us, they say that we can live forever. But if, let's say I clone you, Elena, or you clone me, and you pass my consciousness to the other body, isn't that the same as me going to your computer and me copying your hard drive? I have the data now here, but the original data is not the same. So are these clones facsimiles? And if that's the case, then we really don't live forever. It's just a copy of you, but it's not you.
The transfer of consciousness is a very common thing. You can transfer consciousness, especially, when there are wars involved and conflicts. Many of the warriors have all clones that when they die on the battlefield, their consciousness is transferred straight away into the clone body that is waiting for them in a life support pod, because this body will be made with the same genetic as the original. It's a copy, it's double. So there will be a quantum entanglement with this body, okay? Frequency resonance, because DNA is frequency. So there will be a frequency quantum entanglement. So when the first body dies, the consciousness will automatically be
transfer like a soul.
Yes. The soul will be sucked back to the other body because of the frequency entanglement. But you have a certain time to do that. After a certain time, the soul will not reintegrate the other body. It will go back to the cycle of incarnations. So you need to be quick. It's sometimes, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it just doesn't work. And
so let me
to the cycles.
Let me see if I understand this correctly, because this is fascinating. So let's say I have 3 clones of Elena Danaan in an underground military base somewhere. Something, God forbid, something happens to this Elena I'm talking to right now. Your soul and your consciousness will go to the next available body, and you will have the same memories. You will know what happened to you, how you died, but then you continue life. Is that how it works?
Yes. You have also the willingness of the consciousness sometimes, because you want to do it or not. If it's what I want to say is you cannot be forced. That's what I want to say. You have always free choice, and especially as a soul, as a consciousness, when you discorporate to your body, you have the choice to straight away go to this other clone where you are, attracted to go because of the frequency resonance of the body you just left, or you can choose not to. That's why when dark space programs, or Greys, for instance, or reptilians, used to clone people like super soldiers to make replicas of them, they could also fractal the consciousness or transfer consciousness to another body. But without their agreement, without their consent, you can't. So they would force the consciousness to leave a body and to go in another one, and they would store it and force it into another body by technology. So that's an aspect as well.
Are you saying that, say, 4 different bodies could have the same soul?
Fractal, yes. Fractals. You can split it, yes.
And what you said
is done by technology.
So what you said, if all of a sudden you decide, or it takes too long, and you or I die, instead of going to our bodies, we actually go to the next baby, and we reincarnate, and we forget everything. Is that how the cycle of life goes?
Yes. In that density of existence. In other density of existence, for instance, higher density of existence, you do not forget at birth. You remember. The memories will come back as you grow as a child. There would be levels in your growth when you will remember until you reach maturity and you know who you are. But for Earth, it's one of these places where you do not remember because of the heaviness of the vibration. But it's evolving. Earth is evolving, and then from incarnation to incarnation, generation to generation, in the near future, people will incarnate with memories activated more and more and more, because the Earth is being liberated. A great evil has left the planet in 2021. And Earth, this solar system, this star system, has now entered an area in this galaxy that is of a higher density. So the whole star system is shifting in a higher density. What is a higher density? It's a faster rate of vibration, of pulse between the atoms of any matter. So everything on the world or in the star system vibrate at the same pulse of existence, of matter, of interaction between any kind of atoms. And when it raises in frequency, it goes faster, it vibrates faster. That means that when you are in the what we call the third density for Earth, you cannot visually see existence vibrating in a higher density without technology.
You said something interesting, resonant frequency. And I don't know why the thought came to mind. Some people say that when you reincarnate, you usually do it, not all the time, but you seem to stay within your own family. Is it because some of your family, just because you shared some of their DNA, the frequency is more resonant, and this is why people stay within their circle? Is that true?
It happened. It's not a law, you can choose to do that if you, with links, emotional links with some people in this bloodline that you borrow, because there are, these bodies are just bloodlines and people incarnate in it. And sometimes they make friends or lovers and they want to find each other again. So they will reincarnate in the same family. And there's also family karmas as well. But that's a choice. It happens, but it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. For instance, myself, it's the first time I'm incarnated into this borrowed bloodline. I've discovered all the advantage, the genetic and psychic advantages of it, which is great. But, I've borrowed other bloodlines, and that's exciting. It's a discovery every time.
Yes, well, I'm discovering a lot today again, and I think we are electrical bodies. And what you just said about the resonance, this happens a lot in sound waves and electromagnetic waves. And it occurs when waves reinforce each other due to the matching frequencies. And this is why these souls go back to whatever clone you have, because that's 100% who you are. But my question is, so the person actually knows, this is me, I know what happened to me, and I'm continuing. Correct?
You mean as a clone?
As a clone. And those that
Sometimes
clone have...
you don't know.
You don't know. So how do you begin life?
You wake up. Yeah, you wake up and you do not have memories of before you woke up.
Oh, I see. So you're talking about a baby clone. I'm referring to the... an adult, because they have the technology now to progress somebody's life. I mean, I'm going to go there. And I think I mentioned this to you before. Let's go there. You've heard about some celebrities that all of a sudden they disappear for a few months. And then they come back and you say, wait a second, there's something strange. That person doesn't look like him. And apparently the person died, but because they make billions of dollars for the music industry, to the movie industry, they cloned them.
It's possible. It can be also, plastic surgery.
But my question is, do they transfer? Do they transfer the consciousness? Because when you talk to them, they can talk about what happened 10, 20 years. I mean, look at who we have in the White House right now. I don't even know what he is.
So that's two different cases. So that's when you as a consciousness is by technology passed into a clone. You remember everything, you're the same person, you have all your memories. But when your consciousness is extracted by force and a fractal of it is taken and put in another clone, this little fractal of yourself that will be put in a clone, not the whole you, a fractal, will only have the memories from the moment it woke up in that new clone body. So, it's two different things. When you're talking about these celebrities, yes, there is this technology available on Earth. Yes. They transfer the whole soul in a new clone. They can do that. But not only, celebrities, that works for soldiers. That technology is used, as I was saying, in wars, in secret space programs, when someone, warriors die and they are transferred to new clones. I can advise the audience to read a book from Tony Rodriguez, Series Colony Cavalier, where he explains also his own experience of this process. He's been passed onto clones, transferred onto clones of himself. And I think it describes it very well.
What about cryonics? You probably know what cryonics is. Disney and some other people, multimillionaires who at the time of death, at the moment they die, they immediately are frozen, and then that in the future they can be revived again. Why didn't they clone themselves? It wouldn't have been better to clone themselves instead of going through this wait and see period?
Because, I suppose that when the cryonics started to exist, first the cloning human cloning wasn't available that easily, and also because maybe they don't have access to these special cloning facilities, and it's a plan B probably, because it's very elitist, very privileged. It's not everyone that has access to that, because if everyone could have access to this, it would be known and leaked, and that wouldn't be good for them.
I want to dive into something important that you said, that these beings have left since 2021. But let me play devil's advocate for a moment. You say, quote, "A great evil has left the planet, and we can all feel the changes in the energies. It's in the air we breathe, in the beat of our hearts. It's all around us. Something that was once incredibly heavy and old has lifted. It is not there anymore. It is gone." End quote. If this is the case, Elena, why do we still see chemtrails, poison in our food and water, fear emanating from every corner? Why am I perceiving the opposite?
Because all that you named, it is not extraterrestrials who are doing this. It's humans. It's human dark governments behind the governments. The great evil that has left the planet is the extraterrestrial evil. The Sikaar reptilians were there for a very long time. And also the Orion Grey Nebu. Actually, the last of them were expelled at the end of 2021. That is the great evil that I mentioned that has enslaved humanity. Now, the Galactic Alliance has done their work to get the Earth rid of the ET, the regressive ET, the ET problem. So the ETs have taken care of the ETs because we couldn't here deal with that. We never had the technology, and we were really hands, tight with that. Now, what is left on Earth? The human minions of these people, of these beings. And they're still there. The deep state is still there. It has a little power now, but a dying power. And it's now our turn. Humans take care of humans by first waking up to who the enemy is on Earth and refusing to consent. And also we're not completely alone. There is the Earth Alliance, which is an alliance that gathers Earth, white hat militaries, and the Galactic Alliance. the ETs, good ETs. So they are also here behind the scenes. And we come back here to the story of the parents with the child. You need to let the child see and face the challenges. Otherwise, the child will not grow, will stay a child and will not learn. And this is the law of evolution. Maybe hard to hear, but the evolution is triggered by challenges. Challenges teach the being their potential. They teach the beings their strength. They develop their intelligence, their instinct, and many new skills. And that's how evolution works. We are not going to be overwhelmed by this because we are in the process on Earth of winning this. The deep state is losing power very, very big speed. And I like to compare them to headless running chickens who are dying because the top of the pyramid has been taken off Earth. They do not have the ET backup anymore. So they have the power that we give them. If one day, suddenly, in 24 hours, the whole planet would stop believing their fear narratives and obeying to that, and stop eating the crap they feed us and drink the poison they serve us, one day, they're over, they're done, that's it. Game over for them. So we need to realize that. And it's our victory. It's no one is stealing our victory from us. And when we will have been to the other side, we will be so proud of ourselves here. We've made it, we've done it ourselves, we've liberated ourselves. You know, you were mentioning Val Thor. Val Thor said to me once, because, you know, I'm having this conversation upstairs a lot. Val Thor once answered to me.
Lucky you.
Val Thor once answered to me. We cannot liberate a slave who holds on to his chains.
Yeah.
That's all said in these words.
And that's the problem, I think. The majority of the people, unfortunately, and this is why it's so important to avoid shadow banning and censorship, because what they fear the most is most people waking up. This division that we see, left-right paradigm, is all orchestrated. If people sat down and talk about it, I always say, I love to talk about music with people from different political parties because that is what unites you. We talk about music and that's the way it is. But let me just ask you this before we take a break. I remember many conversations with Dr. David Jacobs, who talks about the hybrids. And he told me, yes, they're trying to terraform this planet. And at the time I used to think, okay, I'll put that in my, that's interesting bucket. But they don't like light, some of these beings, and that's why we hardly see them during the day. Then I have people reporting their street lights, especially in Florida, for example, are blue or purple at night, almost like ultraviolet light. And you talk about the black goo. When we come back from the break, I want you to explain that again, because we've discussed this for years. The black goo, and some people say graphene oxide might be the black goo. You want to address this a little bit before we take the break?
Yeah, I want first to go back on the ultraviolet lights. Ultraviolets is the only light in which the grays can thrive. That's it. So when you have abductions by the grays as well, you can put an ultraviolet light on your skin and you see the trace of their fingers. So that's that. Black goo, the graphene oxide is a transponder, was a transponder, piezoelectric transponder to biological organism put in a body to the gray hive queen in Orion. It was to link our consciousness, to assimilate our consciousness to the hive in Orion and enslave all the planet in a hive mind consciousness. This hasn't happened because it was stopped. And the Orion hive was destroyed. But that was this thing. If you want me to go there quickly, because everyone is interested in knowing
No,
this.
hold it. That's going to be a cliffhanger.
Okay.
And I want to say something that's going to entice people to listen to part 2 as well. And then we'll take the break. This is something interesting and scary at the same time. I'm going to read it from your book, if you allow me. Quote, a few months before this book was published, in the spring of 2021, I believe, 2022, I was driven into a well-wrapped trap to get me to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Give away all rights on my material for perpetuity and non-revocable, and consent to not gather any more with other contactees and experiences for any conference on the matter of extraterrestrial existence. They enlisted an organization behind this to attempt, and they were deeply rooted into the dark. A step back in time, not without exhaustion and a bit of fright. For these people, if you are not with them, you are against them. Thankfully, I am well guided and protected, end quote. When we come back, I want to know what came out of this. I take it you didn't sign the NDA, and I want to know if it happened again. But tell us, how can people buy Cedars, the Stephen Chua story, and your other books?
Well, all my books are available on Amazon, but also via my website at the page author, elenadanaan.org/author.
I'm so glad, Elena, that you have granted another interview, because people are really, really enjoying it, I know, and they're going to enjoy part 2 even more. So folks, don't go anywhere. My special guest today is Elena Danaan. One more hour to come. This is Mel Hustlerek, and you are listening to VERITAS. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you for listening to the first part of this important VERITAS interview. To listen to the rest and all of our exclusive material, proceed to the VERITAS Plus member section or join the VERITAS Plus family by subscribing. Click on the subscribe button at VERITASradio.com. Don't forget to visit the VERITAS store for focused life force energy. Get a 15-day free trial of FLFE today with no credit card required. And if you want to get in touch with Mel, want to be a guest on this radio program, have a guest suggestion, or have feedback, just click on the contact button on our website at VERITASradio.com. Now, proceed to the VERITAS Plus member section or subscribe to listen to the rest of the interview. You don't want to miss it. Thank you for listening to VERITAS, because you don't want to believe, you want to know.